Once upon a time, there's a village called Berk, where Vikings live. Dragons frequently attack their village, taking their animals and torching their homes. Stoic, the chief of the tribe, has a 16-year-old son named Hiccup. Hiccup tries to protect the village in his own way, fighting off the dragons who come to snatch their animals, just like the other villagers. However, Hiccup's mother passed away fighting dragons, so Stoic forbids his son, who isn't as strong in battle as the other kids, from fighting. Instead, he makes Hiccup hide in a safe spot when battles break out. There's also a girl Hiccup has a crush on, Astrid, who's considered the most skilled among the opposing clans. While Hiccup doesn't have the physical strength of a Viking warrior, he's incredibly talented at creating unusual mechanical gadgets. One night, when dragons attack their village, the Vikings do what they always do. They try their best to protect their animals and capture or eliminate the dragons. The most common dragon types they encounter are the Gronkle, which is super tough and hard to face, the Zippleback, with 2 heads, making it even trickier, the Deadly Natter, with a face like a parrot, and the monstrous Nightmare, which only the most skilled Vikings can handle. But there's one dragon, called a Night Fury, that no Viking in their tribe has ever managed to capture or bring down. Hiccup decides he's going to try to take down a Night Fury to prove his abilities to the villagers who look down on him. Despite his father's warnings, Hiccup brings out a bola launcher he invented himself. He aims to shoot a dragon and spots a rare Night Fury, so he fires, and it hits. However, another dragon tries to blast him with fire, so he has to quickly run and hide to safety. All the homes in his escape path end up catching fire. The dragon keeps targeting him without letting up, so the chief steps in front of his son to protect him and fights the dragon. The dragon, unable to match the chief's strength, retreats and flies away. But because of Hiccup, a dragon they had captured gets away. Some homes are burnt, and some animals are taken by the dragons. The chief is incredibly upset with Hiccup for not listening. Hiccup tries to explain that he managed to hit a Night Fury, but no one believes him. His angry father even forbids him from leaving the house. But Hiccup doesn't give up. He sneaks out of the house when his father and the guards aren't looking and searches the forest. He finds the Night Fury, injured and unable to move. Hiccup aims to strike it with his dagger, but when he sees the Night Fury trembling with fear, he feels sorry for it and can't go through with it. He cuts the ropes entangling its body with his dagger and sets it free. Hiccup expects the Night Fury to harm him, but surprisingly, once it's free, it doesn't hurt him. It's still unable to fly well because of its injury, so it flies unsteadily out of the forest. At that moment, Stoic and Galber, the local blacksmith and also Hiccup's mentor, are discussing searching for the dragon's nest out at sea. Galber, the only one who sees Hiccup's hidden talents, explains to his friend Stoic that they are getting older and will pass on someday, and they won't be able to protect their children forever. He suggests that Hiccup, who has grown up and eager to become a Viking, should join the other kids and attend his dragon fighting class for training. Stoic thinks it over carefully and agrees. When Hiccup returns home, his father tells him that he's allowing it and that Hiccup will start Galber's dragon training class tomorrow morning. Hiccup tries to refuse, saying he's changed his mind, but he can't go against his father's command, so he agrees. The next morning, Hiccup and his friends, Fish Legs, Snotlout, the Thorsten twins Roughnut and Toughnut, and Astrid, arrive at the Trial of Flame, the only place in Berk that produces skilled Vikings. Galber announces that whoever performs best in each of his trials will earn the title of Top Slayer, and releases a captured Gronkle. He announces that today they'll be learning about defense. He orders them all to quickly grab the shields ready in the arena and protect themselves from the Gronkle's blasts. He also announces that whoever gets blasted first loses the trial and is out. The Thorsten twins fight over a shield and end up getting blasted, losing the trial and exiting. Galber teaches them that shields aren't just for defense. Hitting them to create noise can also disorient dragons. He explains that dragons also have a limited number of blasts. They learn that the Gronkle they're facing can blast 6 times. Fishlegs passes out and gets blasted without realizing it's coming. Next, it's Snotlout's turn, and there are 3 shots left, with only Hiccup and Astrid remaining. Astrid tries to trick the Gronkle and distract it to blast somewhere else, but the clever Gronkle blasts her instead, and she's out of the trial. With only 2 shots left, Hiccup doesn't fight back and easily gets blasted. After the trial ends, Galber sends the Gronkle back to its enclosure. Galber warns his students that dragons are fierce and won't show mercy, so they shouldn't hesitate to take them down when they encounter them. He ends the lesson for the day. Hiccup, however, finds himself intrigued because while every dragon he's seen so far is fierce, the Night Fury is different. After class, he sets out alone to find it in the forest. Hiccup goes through the forest and reaches a small bay, where he sees the Night Fury. Because of the bullets he shot, one of its tail fins is injured, and it can't return to the dragon's nest. Hiccup quickly sketches its basic body shape in the book he brought. Hiccup's ink pen accidentally falls into the water, and the Night Fury notices he's there. But unlike other dragons, it doesn't harm him. At that moment, Stoic and his fleet, who are out at sea searching for the dragon's nest, arrive at a misty area. They are attacked by a swarm of dragons, and some of their ships are damaged. Outnumbered, they realize they can't continue fighting and have to turn back. The next morning in Berk, Galber is training his students in combat. To make them faster and more agile, he has them fight a natter, a dragon known for its quick footwork compared to other dragons. Today, only Astrid manages to defeat the natter and send it back to its enclosure, passing the trial. Hiccup and the others, treating the dragon like a pet, don't fight and instead just hide and avoid the action. So, they all face criticism from Astrid. Right after class, Hiccup grabs a large fish and heads to the cove where the Night Fury is. Hesitantly, he invites the dragon to come eat the fish he brought. The Night Fury seems really hungry, but because of the weapons Hiccup is holding, it hesitates and doesn't dare to come eat the fish immediately. It's only when Hiccup puts all the weapons aside that the Night Fury, still a bit scared, comes and eats the fish from his hand. The Night Fury looks like it has no teeth at first glance, but it actually has retractable teeth, so Hiccup names him Toothless. Toothless doesn't eat the whole fish, he leaves a little bit, and even shares it with Hiccup, inviting him to eat too. Hiccup, to keep Toothless happy, pretends to eat a little bit, even though he doesn't really want to. Hiccup then draws a likeness of Toothless on the ground with a stick. Toothless tries to imitate him, grabbing a long branch in his mouth and attempting to draw a likeness of Hiccup. But all that comes out are some squiggly, unrecognizable lines. Just like that, the two of them become close friends. As soon as Hiccup gets home, he quickly builds an artificial tail fin to replace the damaged half of Toothless' tail fin that he caused. The next morning, Hiccup brings lots of fish for Toothless' breakfast. Toothless eats the other types of fish from the many varieties he brought, but when he sees an eel, he gets scared, so Hiccup quickly moves it away. While Toothless is focused on his breakfast, Hiccup quickly attaches the artificial half-tail fin he brought to Toothless' tail. After eating his breakfast, Toothless notices the change in his tail. He tries to fly and manages to get airborne. Hiccup secretly hangs onto his tail and gets pulled into the air with him. Both of them are overjoyed that what Hiccup did worked. However, his creation isn't perfect yet, and Toothless isn't used to his new half-tail fin, so they quickly fall back down. Hiccup now understands that dragons are afraid of eels. The next morning, when he faces the two-headed Zippleback, while others struggle to deal with it, he easily pulls out a hidden eel and scares it away. He easily calms it down and sends it back to its pen. His friends are completely baffled by Hiccup's actions. Hiccup then builds a saddle and body harness for Toothless' back and trains him to fly along the coastal cliffs. The two of them fly past a waterfall and then arrive at a place with dandelions. Toothless seems to be allergic to them and starts sneezing like a child with a cold. Hiccup realizes that dandelions can make dragons sneeze and collects some to use if needed. The next morning, when he faces the Grunkle, it tries to blast him with fire. But Hiccup makes it sneeze with the dandelions he collected and defeats it. His friends start questioning Hiccup about his secret to controlling dragons better than them. But Hiccup just pretends he knows nothing. By stroking Toothless under his chin, Hiccup discovers that dragons fall asleep when you rub them there. When he faces the very agile natter again, he uses this method and defeats it. Another adorable habit of Toothless is chasing reflected light spots like a kitten, and Hiccup uses this to easily calm a small dragon called a Terrible Terror as well. Elder Gothi watches and scores every trial at the Trial of Flame. Hiccup is slaying almost every round and getting great results. Stoic, returning to Berk from sea, learns from Galber that Hiccup has been disappearing every day and that he's controlling dragons better than the other kids, getting better results than they expected. At that moment, Hiccup is training Toothless to fly properly with different positions. When they reach a high point, the sheet with the positions accidentally falls down. As they try to catch it, both of them fall uncontrollably. But they manage to grab it back, and Hiccup gets back on Toothless' back. He stabilizes the chaotic situation, and they continue to fly gracefully and neatly among the sea rocks and cliffs. The next day is the final day of the Trial of Flame. Hiccup's father, Stoic, along with other Berk elders, are watching and judging their children's performance against the Grunkle from outside the arena. Astrid prepares to attack the Grunkle and show off her skills, but before she can even fight, Hiccup makes it fall asleep and has already defeated it. Elder Gothi, who has been watching all their trials daily, is impressed with Hiccup, who's slaying in every round, and declares him the winner. Hiccup wins this year's Top Slayer title at the Trial of Flame and will soon have to demonstrate taking down a dragon in front of the elders. Astrid, unhappy with the competition results, goes into the forest to vent her anger. There, she encounters Hiccup, who's preparing to run away from the village because he doesn't want to take down a dragon. She becomes suspicious and follows him, eventually finding Toothless. Toothless thinks she's an enemy and tries to attack, but Hiccup explains that she's his friend and stops him from fighting. But Astrid is scared and plans to go tell the village elders about it. So Hiccup and Toothless have no choice but to grab her and take her to a sea cliff, where they leave her hanging. Hiccup asks Astrid to listen to his explanation first before she goes to tell the village elders. He pulls her onto Toothless' back from the edge of the sea cliff and flies her along the coast, showing her the beautiful sea scenery, the beauty of the sky, and Toothless' friendly nature. At that moment, Astrid realizes that not all dragons are as scary as they thought. She agrees not to tell the elders Hiccup's secret, but as they prepare to head home, Toothless, along with many other dragons, is suddenly pulled by something. They find themselves at the dragon's nest, the very place Stoic and the village elders have been desperately searching for. The dragons throw the animals and food they stole from humans into the nest. We see that some dragons who can't bring enough are actually consumed by a gigantic red dragon. Hiccup, Astrid, and Toothless, no longer restrained, quickly escape the nest with the other dragons. They finally understand why dragons hunt humans and steal animals. They're forced to. Astrid considers telling the village elders the location of the dragon nest, but she's worried it might harm Toothless. So, because Hiccup asks her to keep it a secret for a bit, she agrees. Before returning to the village, Astrid thanks him for being so kind to her and, a little shyly, gives Hiccup a kiss on the cheek. The next morning, as top slayer, Hiccup has to perform the final test of the Trial of Flame, taking down a powerful dragon in front of all the village elders. Stoic, not knowing the truth, is incredibly proud of his son for unexpectedly becoming the top slayer. As Hiccup enters the arena, Stoic has him face a large dragon completely engulfed in flames in front of a huge audience. But Hiccup doesn't fight. Instead, he puts down the weapons he's holding and, amazingly, tries to tame the fierce dragon as if it were a pet. Stoic is incredibly embarrassed by his son's actions and orders the show to stop. The large dragon, which was starting to calm down, gets startled by Stoic and tries to attack Hiccup. Toothless, noticing his human friend is in danger, bursts into the arena from the forest to save Hiccup, fighting the fiery dragon. Even though the fiery dragon is huge, it's no match for Toothless and loses, returning to its pen. However, Stoic and the villagers surround and capture Toothless. Toothless, out of respect for Hiccup, doesn't fight back and is taken captive with the other dragons. Trying to save Toothless from punishment, Hiccup blurts out to his father that the dragons are being forced to hunt humans and steal animals by a red gigantic dragon, like a queen bee forcing her hive. He also admits that he only went to the dragon's nest once, thanks to Toothless. Stoic realizes that Toothless can guide them to the island where the dragons live, which they've been searching for so hard. The very next morning, he and the villagers set sail with all the ships from Berk, led by the captive Toothless, to destroy the dragon's nest. Hiccup, to save Toothless, asks Astrid and his friends for help. Since there are no ships left to sail out to sea, they quickly tame the training dragons left on the island for a short time and use them as their mounts, heading off on an adventure. Stoic and the Viking villagers soon arrive safely at the dragon island, thanks to Toothless. They start attacking the dragon nest, launching fiery projectiles to try and smash it open. But strangely, many dragons don't fight back. They just avoid the nest and fly away. The ground around them suddenly starts shaking like an earthquake, and from the cracking earth, a gigantic red dragon emerges. The terrified Vikings tried to flee on their boats, but the dragon attacks them, spewing enormous flames from its mouth. Stoic and the Vikings are at a loss for what to do since all their escape boats are burning. That's when they see Hiccup and his friends arrive, riding their training dragons. His friends take on the task of distracting the Red Death for a while and figuring out its shot limit. Meanwhile, Hiccup has to go rescue Toothless, who's still trapped on the burning boat. Before he can save him, the boat gets crushed by the Red Death, and both of them plunge into the water. Just then, they see someone coming to rescue them. It's none other than Hiccup's father, Stoic himself. The two, who have been at odds, are finally reunited. Stoic apologizes for misunderstanding his son. Hiccup tells his father that he's not angry because he knows his dad only wanted what was best for him, and he tells his father to leave the rest to him. He then gets on Toothless' back and flies off with his friends to face the Red Death. Astrid tries to distract the Red Death, and her dragon's tail gets caught between the Red Death's sharp teeth. So, she actually goes inside its mouth and manages to break some of its teeth. The dragon is freed, but she's left trapped between the Red Death's teeth. When the Red Death tries to blast fire, Hiccup and Toothless rescue her just in time and bring her to safety. Then, the two of them suddenly attack the Red Death with fire, making it furious. The enraged Red Death targets them, and Hiccup and Toothless lure it up into the air. When they reach high into the clouds, Hiccup and Toothless blast fire at the Red Death's wings, making holes in them. Toothless also unleashes his most powerful purple fire blast directly into its mouth. With its wings burning and damaged, and Toothless' purple flames now inside its belly, the massive body of the Red Death can't stay in the air much longer. It falls to the ground and explodes. Unfortunately, the Red Death's burning tail hits Hiccup, sending him falling into the flames. We see Toothless, not selfishly escaping, push through the flames to save Hiccup. When the flames subside and things return to normal, everyone thinks Hiccup is gone. But Toothless is seen holding Hiccup in his wings, protecting him from the fire, and they realize Hiccup is still alive. Stoic, who as a father couldn't protect his son, thanks Toothless, his friend, for saving his son's life. Hiccup, who thought he was gone, wakes up to see Toothless stroking him. He realizes one of his legs was lost in the fire and has been replaced with a prosthetic. Feeling a little down, Toothless comforts him. When he looks outside, he sees his friends and the villagers training and flying dragons in the sky. Aster gives him a sweet kiss, and with Stoic's approval, the two of them become a couple. Finally, just as he hoped, after the Red Death is gone, the war between Vikings and dragons ends. From that day forward, they live together in peace and friendship.